I'm Joe Diaz, touring guitars for John Oliva of Savatage and guitars for Rat Salad, Black Sabbath tribute band, and you're listening to The Sound Effect.
Hey, welcome to another show. Thank you all for watching. I'm Todd T. Riley.
I'm Scott Johnston.
And we are
The Sound Effect.
Unfortunately, Michelle is not able to be here with us tonight. She is out of town, but she'll be back on the next show. And, of course, can't forget our man behind the scenes, Mr. Doug. Dougie!
Hey, how's it going?
Yep. Thank you for all you do there, my friend. Appreciate you, brother. Before we get going here, I just want to take a special moment here, and I just want to say thank you to everybody out there, all of you who watch us regularly, all of you who have been supporting us, all you new people to the show and everything. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you very much. There's some people who have been supporting the heck out of us for a long time. We got our friend Angie and her man Doug and Mark, and we've also got Wade Black.
So many people to name. We could be here at
JD,
a while. I mean,
Heather,
everybody.
But I wanted to say a very special thank you to a couple of people in particular who have really supported the heck out of the show quite a bit. One of them being my cousin David. Danica. She's really supported me as a person, as a friend, and supported the show, and we just appreciate that so very much. And can't forget your wife, of course.
Oh, of course not.
And that's just a great thing. So, without you guys, we're nothing. This show is nothing, really, and we do this for you, and we appreciate you so much. And so, we just wanted to say a very special thank you to all of you. For all the support that you give and for watching the show, and we hope you enjoy it. So on that, let's continue on. And on the last show, we had part one of a really great interview. So be sure to check that out if you missed it, by the way. Coming up tonight, we have part two for you. You have a two-part interview with the Mountain King himself, Mr. Jon Oliva of Savatage. Also with Dr. Butcher, John Oliva's Pain, and the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. He came here to the studio very recently, talked to us. We had a chance to chat with him and let everybody know how he's doing and what he's got going on. In fact, tonight he's going to kick it off. We're going to kick it off with him talking about TSO. John also performed a few songs for us, and our new music showcase is coming up at the end of the night as well. All that is coming up later on. We have one of those songs that he performed for you, so you won't want to miss any of that.
You don't want to forget our Facebook page music poll, and what that was this week was which Metallica album was a bigger disappointment, Load or Saint Anger? And we'll be talking about that a little bit later. And
they're both a load of crap, if you ask me.
What is that? That's a hard one. I mean, they're just, I don't know what to say. I could change my vote back and forth, and I don't really think it would make much of a difference.
Yeah.
So I feel bad. All right. Well, no, I don't feel bad. They had some good stuff back in the.
Yeah, Metallica's Metallica. They got some great stuff. So let's get into some music and entertainment news first and get the show rolling. So this may come as some news to some people if you're a Dokken fan, because some people blame George Lynch, other people blame Don Dokken. But George Lynch is actually still hopeful that the classic Dokken lineup will play some more shows. In a brand new interview with Metalwani guitar legend George Lynch was asked if there was been any talk between him and Don Dokken about the classic lineup of Dokken making one final studio record together. He responded, "We did about a year and a half ago. Jeff, former Dokken bassist, and I were starting to work on what became the End Machine, and for a moment we were thinking it could be a Dokken record because they also had Mick Brown playing drums on that, so that's pretty cool." He said if we could get Don on board, we got ourselves a new Dokken album. So at that point, we were talking about to him about it, but obviously it didn't happen. George also asked whether the classic was asked whether the classic Dokken lineup will ever do another U.S. tour. Said, "Your guess is as good as mine. At this moment, nothing like that's happening, but I'd like to think so." since the four of us are still relatively healthy and alive and on planet Earth, it would probably make sense to do so. But I don't know. You're going to get all four people who agree on that, and that's a little bit tricky. Dokken's classic lineup, Dokken, Lynch, Pilson, and drummer Wild Mick Brown, reunited for a short Japanese tour in the fall of 2016. The trek marked the first time in 21 years the four musicians had hit the road together, with a Dokken concert DVD focusing on the band's reunion tour. Return to the East Live 2016 was made available last year. I've seen a lot of the footage from that on YouTube, and man, they sounded great. They
how's
really
his
sounded
vocals?
great.
I mean,
his vocals were actually very, very
Okay.
good. The best I've seen in a long time, because I've seen Don several times since Dokken kind of went their own way. The guys went their own way, and the last couple of times I really wasn't that impressed with him.
I
he
felt
was
the same way. That's
kind
what I
of
was thinking too.
unfortunately hurting when he was trying to hit the highs. He wasn't hitting them. He's still a great singer, always has been. When he's doing the softer stuff, he still sounds fantastic, So, but he made the songs different and fit what he's capable of doing today. So,
So
they
he kinda
sounded
tweaked
really,
it a little
yeah,
bit.
they tweaked them, and they sounded great. Doing that was definitely the right way to go. So, Dokken is currently working on new material, a new studio album tentatively due in 2020 by Silver Lining Music, the label owned by Thomas Jensen, who is one of the founders of Germany's Wacken Open Air Festival. It's going to mark the group's first disc since 2012's Broken Bones. I'm looking forward to that because I've always been a huge Dokken fan, George Lynch fan. I mean, obviously, I got one of his guitars hanging up here on the wall, So I love.
So
Lynch is my favorite guitar player. And,
I mean,
Dokken's
getting
one of
them
my
to
top
play
favorites.
together is one thing, but will they actually look at each other on stage?
Right.
I mean-
Right. Well, if you watch that video of them when they were in Japan, man, they were really having a good time. There wasn't looking like there was any animosity going on between them or anything, and like they were all just really enjoying themselves and having a good time.
I mean, the first
on stage.
I think it was the first time I even saw him. It was the Monsters of Rock tour.
Oh yeah,
And
that
I
was a
mean,
great tour with
that was
Van
a great-
Halen and
oh, yeah.
Metallica and
That was a
Scorpions.
great- that was a
Kingdom
great
Come.
tour.
That was an
Oh, yeah.
awesome tour.
But what was, what I've grown to expect is they're each like in their own world.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not interacting at all, and I mean,
Right.
it's like they're all in their own world. It was a trip. I wasn't
George has
expecting
gone
that.
on to do, like when he did Lynch Mob and stuff, he had Mick Brown on drums with him.
Right.
So him and Mick have done stuff, but then him and Jeff Pilson, the bass player, have done stuff together as well, But the only one of those guys that has done anything with Don in any of his other projects was Mick, and who plays in Dokken now with him. So it's basically George and Jeff that aren't in the band. He still calls it Dokken. He was calling it Don Dokken at first, but
I'm laughing because when you're first saying that he tweaked the songs a little bit to make it so he could sing. I mean, hey, I can't sing like I used to. I mean, we get older. It just how it goes naturally. But like, do you see that Vince Neil lately? Whoa.
yeah, I've seen same thing with him.
I'm hoping like when he
times.
comes back around this area, hopefully, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, heck, I'd love to have his success in doing what he's doing, but man, there was a thing going on Facebook when they were like changing they're putting like the words underneath like what they thought he was saying, and it was hilarious.
I hate it when I go to a show. I don't mind it when the crowd's singing along and they're really being active, and they take the mic and pour it out towards the crowd to get the crowd singing and stuff, But I hate it when a singer uses that as a crutch.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I would rather, I understand, like you said, as you get older, as a singer and stuff, you start losing a little bit of it. Maybe you can't hit those highs anymore that you used to be able to hit and stuff like that when you were in your 20s.
I don't think
it's
you should go for
understandable.
those notes if
so
you
don't
can't
go
hit them
for them
anymore.
anymore. If you can't do that, don't go for them. Change it up a little bit so that you're hitting it more in your range and you're still making the song sound great, because that's the worst thing, in my opinion. It's easier for a guitar player to get up there and play. I mean, he's not, as long as his guitar's in tune, he's good to go.
Right.
Although
I have seen some disasters singers there, and I don't want to
of
mention
course,
names
but we
because,
won't
you
even
know.
go there. But for a singer, it's tough because your vocal cords will change, your voice will change, maybe your health will change, which will affect your voice. All
And
those
all that
things can
partying
happen.
starts to catch up.
Oh
to
yeah,
you.
yeah.
I mean, look at. I mean, I guess we'll use stay with Vince Neil as an example. I mean, guy's partied hard.
Yeah.
He still parties hard. And the
Right.
thing is, you can't recoup like you used to.
No.
I mean, I'm speaking from experience.
Not at all.
Takes
So,
a good day
you have
afterwards.
to, as a singer, you have to change yourself a little bit you got to adjust to that. Doesn't mean you can't sing anymore. It just means I can't hit that high note I used to hit. And
But missing
that's
the
okay.
lyrics and stuff,
That's
though, I mean,
okay,
that's
but,
kinda
yeah,
uncalled
the
for.
lyrics is bad, especially with today's technology. Man, you can have something up there showing those lyrics to you left and right, and people won't even know it.
Or you could add, I mean, yeah, there's a lot of crutches you could use, but
well, I would rather they do that than to
I would too,
to
just completely
use the crowd as
butcher-
a crutch,
Yeah.
and completely skip a
Here comes
whole
that high
line
note.
because they forget it.
oh, they can hit it. All right, good job. What's this lyric again?
Yeah, I forgot the words. You guys tell me.
I'm not picking on Vince Neil. I mean, he's
Sure you're
coming
not.
He's coming to town soon, and
Yeah,
hopefully,
hey, we'll find out.
hopefully
won't we?
everything's gonna be
Yeah.
cool.
Hopefully,
So-
we'll get to talk to him. That'd be great.
well, he still might be too cool to talk to us, but we'll see. We'll see.
You never know.
November, we shall find out. So, Godsmack frontman Sully Erna entered the professional boxing world as a co-trainer of amateur boxing champion David Tubbs. Now, he's made his professional debut in a spectacular fashion on Friday the 16th as Tubbs scored a brutal knockout just 18 seconds into the fight.
Wow.
I mean, it set a record for the fastest knockout of the year in the state of New Hampshire, where that ended up taking place. Now, it was definitely a little faster than we expected, laughed Erna, and he did exactly what was asked of him. I mean, he threw the exact combination that Haas, Tubbs' head trainer, was working on in the locker room with him on the pads. I mean, one of the punches landed on the clean side of his head, and in boxing, I mean, that's all it takes. Tubbs is obviously an exciting fighter, and we think he's got a bright future. Erna added. It was an honor to be invited to work with the team Tubbs on. It was a special night. I mean, the professional debut. It was such an important night for a fighter that, you do it. It was benefiting the Scars Foundation, and that made it a lot better. Made it a lot better. I mean,
anytime you do a benefit, I think makes it
absolutely,
a lot cooler.
absolutely. So, he adds that, I'm looking forward to being part of Tubbs' next fight, continuing to work with him in the boxing world. So, Sully, I didn't know he was a boxing enthusiast.
I didn't either, man.
I really didn't.
It's
I
a good
guess,
thing he didn't try to knock any one of us out when we opened for
Yeah,
him.
right. When we opened them up, but yeah, like when we went in their locker room. Well, it was a locker room technically, where backstage
right,
was.
right.
But we didn't have a rider, but they had fruit and Red Bull and all this stuff set up. And we went next door to see what they had. Man, Thanksgiving dinner. I mean, it was unbelievable.
Yeah,
We're
they had a
eating the
serious
leftovers.
spread
It's
going on, yeah.
Man. So the fight was part of Scars for Scars, an event for professional boxing that's presented by Boston Boxing Promotions to benefit the Scars Foundation. And Sully was basically raising awareness for mental health issues, and just provide resources and tools to educate and empower people on a global level with the struggles that burden such as bullying, addiction, abuse, depression. So I mean, that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's
a good
pretty
thing.
awesome, man. That's Sully's charity too. That's really cool. So
Yeah, very cool.
That's a pretty
Very
cool thing, man. Gotta love that. So this week in history, August 26, 1968, "Hey Jude" was released by the Beatles. That became Billboard's Song of the Year in 1968 and ended up Billboard's 10th biggest song of all time in 2013. That's pretty cool. In August 27, 1964, Walt Disney's Mary Poppins, directed by Robert Stevenson and starring Julie Andrews and Dick Van Dyke, premiered in Los Angeles. 1965, the Beatles spent an evening with Elvis Presley. Oh, to be a fly on the wall for that one, huh?
Yeah, right.
In 1970, Jimi Hendrix created his last studio recording at Electric Lady Studios in New York, an instrumental called Slow Blues. August 28th, 1970, I'll Be There, single by the Jackson 5, was released. It was Billboard Song of the Year. 1973, the Deep Purple classic Smoke on the Water went gold. The so-called song that launched 1,000 guitarists also holds a Guinness World Record for the largest guitar ensemble with 1,802 players performing that song. That record was set on June 23rd in 2007.
What a trip.
You know why they say it's the song that launched 1,000 guitarists? Because most guitarists learn that song as their very first song. You know, dun, 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 dun. It's just kind of a simple but cool rhythm. You know,
I mean,
cool
and
groove
you don't
and stuff. So.
you don't get a hard time about that one where it says, "No stairway." No, Stairway to Heaven.
Stairway to Heaven was the first one I ever learned, actually. My brother Rob taught me that. So, 1973. Let's Get It On. The album and single were released on the same day by Marvin Gaye and was Billboard Song of the Year. In 2018, Aretha Franklin lies in state at the Charles H. White Museum of African American History in Detroit in a 24-karat coffin. Can you imagine that? That's got to be one heavy coffin.
But it's
very
24
valuable
karat,
one too.
It's soft too.
That's true.
So I wonder if it throw a bunch of dirt on there. I wonder if it compressed a little bit. I don't know. I'll have to try that out in my coffin and see how that works out.
Yeah, sure.
But I guess I won't be alive to see that.
Nope.
So I'm going to start taking donations for my coffin. 24 karat gold, 100% solid gold plastic. So we got some birthdays this week. On August 26th, 1966, Shirley Manson. See, singer from Garbage. For Garbage. Sorry, my brain is in the gutter like it should be. The 27th, 1953, Alex Lifeson, the guitarist for Rush.
He lives down in Naples, down by Fort Myers.
Now they're from
Canada.
Yeah.
Take off, eh?
Take off, eh? The 28th, 1943, David Soul, actor and singer. Soul. See, these are going way early for me. Way early for me. Starsky and Hutch. I mean, that was on TV, but I guess I wasn't following the actor quite that closely. I wasn't watching Chips or any of that either back then. 1965, singer Shania Twain. Wonder how old she is. She still looks pretty decent.
65 would make her 54.
Huh. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, she looks fantastic for her age.
Now, 1969.
That don't impress me much.
No. Well, you should. I'm not gonna touch that one. 1969, actor, comedian, singer Jack Black. Have you seen him sing before?
Oh yeah, he's actually a really great singer.
I was really surprised. Yeah. Really surprised. Now, August 29th, 1920, jazz saxophonist Charlie Bird Parker, and in 1958, King of Pop Michael Jackson. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
So let's check out what events are going on and talk to. Actually, no, not talk to her. Let's show the interview with Mr. Jon Oliva. So what's going on with TSO? I know you've taken over the reins there after Paul. It's all you, brother.
It's all me. Well, some cool shows on tour. That's what we're talking about. Knotfest Road Show featuring Slipknot, Volbeat, and it's a Behemoth. I believe a couple other bands as well. I actually going to be there for that.
That'd be a great show.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. Now my wife, I know she's not into quite that heavy of music, but I think she's going to appreciate it. It's pretty cool. The first time I actually saw Slipknot, they were opening up for Cold Chamber, and I mean we're talking. I went to go see a Cold Chamber. Let's see who else was on that particular one. At any rate, I wasn't expecting that. When you see an opening band like Slipknot, they just completely destroyed everybody. I mean, it was Unbelievable. Now, also, Peter Frampton, the Farewell Tour, ZZ Top. You got Queen with Adam Lambert, the Rhapsody Tour. Jason Bieler and our friend Jeff Scott Soto. And, he's playing with TSO also, who they announced their new winter tour. So you're going to have to check those guys out. I mean, check out all these bands. TSO, what I thought was really cool is I didn't realize that, they're so big that they have a group that plays like the West or, Mid and West Coast and then the East Coast as well.
Right.
I thought that was pretty cool.
Well, yeah,
Very cool.
they try to cover the entire United States, and they put on such a big show. It's really huge, and it's a huge event. And like John was saying, they employ 400 people.
I know.
So that's pretty big,
Absolutely.
So they had to split it up in order to be able to reach, because it's only a couple of months that they tour out of the year. So to hit that time frame in the holidays and stuff, they had to split it up into 2 different shows.
Jeff Scott Soto ended up posting, showing like what states and everything he was playing. I mean, I think he did play maybe a couple more shows than the other guy that was singing. But, man, he really covers the area. I mean, we're talking all the way from California and over and down right to Florida. I mean, it was pretty cool. Did you see that?
Yeah.
It was pretty neat.
Yeah,
pretty
very
neat.
cool. A bunch of people online tonight. Thank you for watching. Hello. Bunch of hellos. Bunch of hellos to you. Bunch of hellos to me. Bunch of hellos to all of us. It's a good thing. Appreciate it. Don't have Michelle watching the online this time tonight, unfortunately. So anyway, tonight we have for you part 2 of our 2-part interview with the Mountain King himself, Mr. Jon Oliva of Savatage, Dr. Butcher, Jon Oliva's Pain, and the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. This one is beginning with him talking about TSO. He came here to the studio very recently and talked to us, let us know everything that's going on, how he's doing, and he also played some songs. And we have another song for you later on tonight before the show is through, so make sure you stick around for that. You are not going to want to miss it, but here you go, the thing you have been waiting for. Part 2 with Jon Oliva. So what's going on with TSO? I know you've taken over the reins there after Paul and everything. So
well, TSO, we're doing a whole new show this year. TSO, when we lost Paul, it was very difficult. It was like losing Chris all over again.
I know.
I was very close to Paul. Paul was like a father to me. And, after Chris died, I wanted to commit suicide. And Paul and his wife, Desiree, saved me. And it was a really hard time.
I know it was.
And Paul, Paul was a genius in a lot of ways. He was a genius. I don't know where he came up with half of the stuff he came up with. But he had a belief in me as a writer. This is great. He would come into me with this like notebook full of lyrics and go, John, I got this idea. This is what the song's about. And I would read and I'd go like, really? Well, mid-tempo, a ballad. I want this to be. I'd be like, all right. So then I would write, I'd start to play to it. And he would be sitting there staring at me just like you are right now. And if I hit on something, he'd go, that's it right there. Play it. And then he would start reading and singing to it. And that's how a lot of that TSO stuff came about. I mean, I was remember saying to him, you're not going to turn me into the heavy metal Santa Claus. I'm already fat enough. I don't need you to turn. What am I going to go out and buy a beard? But it wasn't that. It was like he had this brilliant way of like just sparking something. I don't know where he got it from, but it was brilliant because he would show me stuff and I would just be like, oh yeah, I got it. And I would start playing and sometimes he would go, no, that's not it, or no. Then I would hit on something, go, that's it, keep going. And that's how it all started. Losing him was tough, you know, because in my whole career with him, with Trans-Siberian and with Savatage, I was never involved in the business. It was always, John, you are my creative guy. You write, we work, we write together. I will take care of all the business, which he did. But when he passed away, now all of a sudden it was just like this big hole. And I was thrown in the middle of it. And I'm like, you know, I'm the worst, dude, I'm the worst business guy on the planet. No one's worse. But over the last 3 years, I've learned what I have to do. I have a lot of people I feel responsible for. Over 400 of them.
Wow. I never realized there was that many involved in that.
On our whole organization, crew, everything.
Right.
It's over 400 people. And they've been doing this gig for 23 years now. They rely on this money every year. It's part of their income. They have families, they have houses, they have this. And all of a sudden, it's like, just like, all right, well, John, better make sure everybody can still make a living. And Paul's wife, you know, Desiree, who has actually, TSO was actually her idea at first.
How was it?
And she has financed this whole thing. That poor woman, I love her to death. I call her mom. She calls me her son. She has gone through so much. And she is so loyal. And she's like, John, I can't, you know, I have to take care of these people. You know, I feel a responsibility. You know, she could turn around tomorrow and say, like, all right, it's done. I'm done.
Right.
I'd be okay. She'd be okay. But everybody else would be screwed. She won't do it.
That's awesome.
You know, that's how loyal and how dedicated she is. And, you know, it's hard, man. You know, it's like creativity-wise, for me, it's been very, you know, very bad.
Well, you kind of lost some of your inspiration, so to speak.
Yeah, because
You know.
I've had to worry about business. And I'm like, I don't want to worry about business. I want to worry about rolling a joint or something. I don't want to worry about business. But now it's like it's come to that point where, you know, over the last since Paul passed away, I've learned a lot about it.
Yeah.
Because I've had to. I'm not happy about it, but it is what it is, you know. And that's why I have no hair anymore. It's all falling out. Every time I pull a thing hair, it goes like, TSO this problem. TSO this problem. I'm like, great. What's next? My feet gonna fall off or what? But I love all the people that we have a good organization and we make a lot of people happy.
Oh, yeah.
All these fans that come,
Oh,
you know, selling out Amley Arena.
It's become a juggernaut of a tour.
It's like,
yeah,
and I see kids and they're 4 years old to people 94.
Yeah. That's
And
the amazing
That's
thing
awesome.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I call it's like Ringling Brothers.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm sitting there at the soundboard going like, what the hell are all these people doing? It doesn't make any sense to me. But you see these little kids and they're all like jumping up and then you see these 90-year-old people and they're just like, and I'm like, and it's my music that they're listening to.
Heck yeah.
And I'm just like, okay, you know, maybe I made a mistake with the Savatage thing from the start. Maybe I should have went into, you know, but it's amazing.
But without Savatage, there would be no TSO.
Well, that is true. After Chris died, that was the beginning of TSO.
Yeah.
Paul came to me. He says, what are we going to do? We can't replace Chris. He's like, you can't. That's like trying to replace John Lennon in the Beatles. Can't replace him.
Right. You got some great guys to fill in his shoes, though, for
But Paul
few
said,
albums.
we got to do something else. We got to do something different. What are we going to do? Chance was the first song where I actually thought that was the very first TSO song. And then 1224 on the next album was like, then I was like,
Yeah.
we're on to something here. But Chance, if you really think about it, off Handful of Rain.
You're absolutely
which on
right,
that
actually.
album, I'm the only guy playing on that album except for Alex Skolnick from Testament,
Right.
who came in and played a few solos, and Zach coming in and doing the vocals. But I played everything. I played all the drums, bass, rhythm guitars, some lead guitars. And I had to play all my brother's guitars. Upside down.
Oh, I know. I
I
love
was
that
like,
about you,
That
man.
wasn't hard enough already.
Yeah, I was like, no pressure. Paul's like, can you play these upside down? I'm like, well, what choice do I have? You know, what are we gonna do? You know, are you gonna go buy me all left-handed guitars now? But I did it, and I loved the album. But Chance was the very first time where Paul and I were like, now we got something.
Yeah, I can see that because of the vocal part and that part's amazing, man.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
You know how long
Yeah.
it took us? I don't even want to tell you how long it took us to do that.
Yeah.
It was just days and days and days. And me and Zach just being in there going like, Father, can you hear me? This is not... I'm like, what the fuck is Father saying? I need this inspiration. I'm like, it got to the point where I couldn't even understand what I was doing. I had to have the words written out on big poster boards so I wouldn't mess them up, because it just got so... I had never done this before, where I had all these different things going on at the same time. And Paul was just like, no, you got to start it right. Oh, okay. And we went back. And it was like, 5 o'clock in the morning. You're going like, Father, can you hear me? This is not Can we go home now?
I think I lost
No, you're not going home. Can't make stuff like this.
So, I mean, all the gigs you played, it almost sounds like this question's going to be kind of loaded together, but what do you think is one of your favorite gigs you ever played?
Dokken.
Okay. And
That's the same thing that he said.
Yeah,
Judge Scott Soto.
2015 at Dokken is undescribable. When you come out there and you've got 130,000 people and you're doing something that has never been done before live, where you have two bands on two separate stages where they can't see each other. See, we couldn't see each other. And you're performing together. It was like, I was terrified. That was the most freaked out I was at any show I've ever done in my life. Because I'm like, oh my God, if your earphones go down or anything goes down, what? You're done. It's over. And it was pouring rain. I mean, pouring rain. None of those people left. Amazing. And we had both stages going off at the same time. That's when I got my hands scarred, being lit on fire. It was special because the people were waiting to see Savatage again.
Yeah.
And we came out, we started the show on the one stage with, me, Caffrey, Middleton, Zach, Petrelli, the Savatage from like Dead Winter Dead, Wake of Magellan.
Yeah.
And we came out, and I remember we opened up with 24 Hours Ago.
Nice.
And I was like, Paul, why did you have to pick the hardest song for me to ever sing in my career as the opening song? Wow. John, they're going to love it. I'm like, Paul, can't you make it the second song so I at least had one song to warm up?
Yeah.
Right.
And then I get out there, and it's freezing. And then you're talking about July. It was freezing. I had this nice suit that they got for me. I took it off and put on my leather jacket. I was like, I'm freezing. I had to come out, beyond it, I was like, oh God. but it worked, and they went crazy, and that was a very big moment for me. That was like, I always wanted Savatage to go out like they deserved.
Yeah.
And with a show like that, with the lighting and everything we had, I was like, that's it. Now I'm happy.
Can't really
Cool.
top that.
Very cool.
Yeah. What am I going to do? Go out there and play a beer garden? You know, it's like, no. And I have, a lot of people go, why don't you come back and do a Sabbath? I'm like,
You wanna quit while you're
I'll
ahead.
tell you what, if you want to put up the $250,000 for the pyro and everything else, I'll come back, I'll play forever. But I'm not going to go out and try to top that. It's untoppable.
Oh, yeah.
So what would you say
Man, I
was your
would've-
worst
wish I
worst
could've been
gig?
there.
I mean, what would you say is the worst gig you ever had?
Oh, God, I got about 10 million of those.
Well, you don't have to name names or throw venues under the bus, unless you want to, of course.
Give me a second. Like, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Worst gig ever. Okay. This is a good one. We're playing in Italy, in Milan, and it's this club that is like under the ground. Like, you pull your bus up, and then there's this staircase that goes down into the club, into the backstage area, like 25 steps. We go down there. Let me tell you, man. You want to talk about heat? I can't even tell you. It was so bad that when they opened up the back doors to let us in, you could feel the heat rushing up the stairs.
Oof.
Wow.
Okay, we got in there, and this place is packed. It was so hot in there, the walls were dripping with sweat and water. Okay, I had a fan. Okay, and that fan did absolutely nothing.
It just blew hot air.
It was just blowing. And I'm telling you, like, we started, and I remember I was completely drenched by halfway through the first song. I'm gasping for air. And we're only in the first song, right? Right? And I'm looking over at Zach, and Zach's singing. He's looking at me because he's going like, help me. Al Petrelli was just like, he was like back over the thing drinking vodka from the, we had a bar set up at the monitor desk, me and Al. No one knew about that except me and Al. It was helpful, but, and we were just dying. And there was just it was like brutal. And I just remember when we actually stopped the show 40 minutes earlier than we were supposed to, because no one could take it anymore. I remember going up out of those stairs. I remember trying to take my shirt off, and I couldn't get them off. They were just like stuck to me, like. And when I was like, I just threw them all away. I was just like, I walked into the bus naked. I was like, this is ridiculous. I can't remember what it was called, but it was in Milan. That was the most brutal gig ever. Ever. That was like painful,
So you played with an awful lot of people over the years, and a lot of big names that you've had different concerts with and stuff. Sure. So if you had to put together an all-star band that you could be a part of and just jam for a one night off, who would be the musicians in that band along with you?
Living and dead.
Living or dead?
Living or dead?
Yeah.
Lemmy on bass. My brother. Keith Moon on drums.
Nice.
John Lennon.
I knew you were going to say that one.
Probably Keith Emerson on keyboards.
Very cool. Yeah.
Vocals. Me.
There you go.
John Anderson. I love John Anderson. I met him many times. Great singer.
Yeah.
But very different from me.
Sure.
I loved Ronnie. Ronnie had such an amazing voice. I actually, for a guy, I don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
I'm like, he sounded like a guy that was like 8 feet tall.
Yeah, no doubt.
You know, I was like, where the hell is this coming from? Is the guy's like 3'4"? You know? I'm like, where is this coming from? He used to blow me away. Now, I remember, you remember Matt Laporte?
Yeah.
One of my good, and we were doing this festival in Spain where we were opening up for, they called it, it was Sabbath with Dio, but they called it Heaven and Hell.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember Wendy Dio coming up to me. She goes, John, how are you? I'm like, in my head, I'm going, who is this chick? Oh, it's Wendy Dio. Oh, yeah. She goes, hey, you want to, come and watch the show? You can sit at the monitor desk. I was like, cool. And I go, hey, is it okay if I bring my guitar player with me? No problem. So I go we had these cubicles, and I get Matt Laporte, and I go, Matt, we're going to go watch Sabbath at the monitor desk. He's like, no way, really not? So I bring him up there, and we're sitting there on this road case, right? And they come out, and they start playing. I think they were doing Neon Nights. And Ronnie's just like, I just look at this guy, oh no, here it comes. I'm like, oh my God. And Matt is like grabbing my arm, going like, dude, do you realize we're sitting? What blew him away is all of a sudden, Ronnie, during the guitar solo, Ronnie comes over to the monitor desk where I'm sitting there, and Matt is sitting right next to me. He leans over and goes, John, nice to friggin' see you again. Can you hand me my tea? And I was like, and he leaves, and Matt grabs me, goes like, dude, do you believe that Ronnie James Dio just grabbed you? I was like,
Total fan moment.
I told you, I know him. And it gets better. Then they did Heaven and Hell, da-da. And Tony Iommi goes into that solo in the middle. He breaks a string. And he comes over to change the guitar, and he looks at me, and he sees he knew Paul. He looks at me, and he just reaches over and slaps my hand, and gets his other guitar and goes back out. And Matt freaked out again. He was like, "Dude, Tony Iommi just slapped your hand." I'm like, dude, you're embarrassing me. He was Matt. I loved him so.
Total fanboy moment.
He was such a fanboy. He was like, dude, Tony Iommi just slapped you in the hand. Do you realize what that means? I'm like, well, yeah, my hand hurts now.
That's great. That's great. So we'll wrap this up real quick, but just before we do, you got anything going on with John Oliva's Pain? I remember recently you and I had talked, and you said that you were working on possibly putting out a double album.
Well,
is that stuff that you've done before, that you've recorded before, that you haven't released?
57 songs. John Oliva's Pain, I mean, I loved all those guys. You know, Chris Kinder, all those guys. But I'm not going out on tour anymore. I've almost been killed enough. I'm not going to risk. But I have a lot of stuff that I've been accumulating. And I'm just trying to figure out what to do with it. I mean, I've got a lot of heavy stuff.
Write for other people, John.
Yeah. Well, I've been doing that too. I've got a lot of heavy metal stuff. I've got a lot of like weirdo stuff, like Beatles, Pink Floyd. I've got like almost 60 songs. And I'm just sitting there going like, all right, what are you going to do with them, idiot? I don't know. Anytime you go into that thing where you want to do an album, they're like, well, you got to go out on tour. I'm like, why?
Right.
Why do I have to go on? Everybody has everything I've done anyway.
Yeah.
So I would just rather, at this stage of my career, I would rather spend my time in the studio and make something that's really good.
Ah.
That's really, to the point and really good. I don't need to go out and sing Hall the Mountain King anymore. first of all, I can't sing it anymore, but well, I might be able to. It depends on how much drugs I do. But I mean, I don't. That to me means nothing anymore. I did it all.
Yeah.
I've done it since forever, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's great. I love playing in front of people. I miss that, but it's like what good does it do me going out and singing Sirens or Haul the Mountain King in front of 1,000 people in a beer place in Germany?
Right.
I think it would be better if I concentrate on, well, here's some new stuff I'm working on.
Yeah.
Different things. And let's see how that floats, I don't want to go on. I'm afraid of flying, first of all. I have claustrophobia.
Oh, you really?
Yeah.
Never
And
knew
I'm
that.
like, I already did that. I've been around the world 5-6 times. Nice place, seen it all, but I don't want to do it anymore. I just want to make music.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's great. I think it'd be a shame, as prolific of a writer as you are and talented and stuff, to not put it out there, and let people enjoy some more of your music.
Todd, I guess you get to this point in your life where you're just like, I've always felt bad for bands that these guys who are older than me are out there still trying to hack it out.
Right.
Playing on tour because they need the money. I don't need the money. I made my money. I don't want to go out in front of people and have them come back and go like, well, he's lost it. He can't do it anymore.
Yeah, definitely
I'm
understand
like,
that.
Hey,
What everybody else you played with is doing.
So I put it as an analogy of an athlete. You might be this great running back, but then you turn 38, and now you're getting your legs broken and everything, and you're like, well, I want to go out like Jim Brown, running back. He was smart. He was the greatest there was. He went out before he started losing his talent. I'm a realist. I can't go out and sing that stuff anymore, like Savatage. I know it. I did it already. You all heard it. Wish I could remember some of it, but you all heard it. And yeah, but it's like now I'm like, I have to look at life differently. I'm 60 years old.
Happy birthday, by
Happy
the way.
belated birthday.
How old are you?
I am 52.
Screw you. How old are you?
49.
Oh, screw you even more. How old are you?
52.
Well, the guys in the 50s, I have a little sympathy for you.
Oh, come on, man. I'm just about flipping digits.
Dude, I'd cut my balls off to be 49. I probably have already. I just haven't noticed. But it's been great coming here and talking to you.
Thanks a
guys.
lot for
I
coming
really
It's
here.
great having you, man. We appreciate you coming in and stuff.
Well,
and
now that I know what you got going on here, I may infiltrate this place a little more.
well, I hope you do, man.
And I don't want to put you on the spot, but I will.
I knew he was gonna come up with something.
There's
at the end.
There's one thing that I feel we're missing for your fans, and just the fact that our live show, they could ask you questions, and whether it's Skype or coming back into the studio,
I would love
whatever.
to do that.
Cool.
I would love to do that.
Very
You
cool.
just let me know when. I'll come and answer anything.
Awesome.
Awesome.
Very
Especially
cool.
now that I've been here and seen how cool. I thought it was a place where you made coconut cream pies and stuff. I was like, oh, maybe I'll bring a couple pies
That's
home.
too funny. You absolutely
Bake
know.
More Pie Studio.
I swear
Everybody
to God, listen,
says that all the
I am
time
not
now.
lying. I thought for sure this was a place where you made pies and that he had just scammed away to do this show here. When I showed up here, I was like, they don't make no pies here. They don't make shit here. Well, it was
Very
really
cool,
nice
very
hanging
cool.
out with you guys.
We appreciate you being here, John. Thank you so much, man. And thanks for the performance and
Can I
everything.
steal that record, by the way?
That's not mine. That's Doug's. You have
Sign that
you'll have
one.
to fight
That goes on
Doug.
my wall.
Scheiße! Ach du
Very cool.
Scheiße!
So thank you so much for
Thanks a
watching,
lot.
everybody, and appreciate you tuning in. And thank you, John, for being here. Love you, bro.
you,
Love you, my friend.
You know I love you, bro.
No, you do, man.
I
It's
liked you better with long hair, but I'm getting used to this.
I liked me better with long hair too, but
Yeah,
you know,
me
it
too.
started getting too thin. I started looking like one of those old guys that was just trying to keep my hair, and I was like, it's got to
Your
go.
wife doesn't call you the Joker.
Yeah.
John, you look like the Joker. I'm like, well, thanks, baby.
Which one?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to tell you what you look like.
Oh, we're not editing that.
No, keep that in there. I want her to hear
Oh,
that.
cool.
So thanks again, John. We appreciate you, man, and we hope to see you on the show again. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you very much. So there you go, part 2 of a 2-part interview with John
Very
Oliva. He
cool.
was in here in studio with us, and we talked to him for a long time. In fact, we actually cut that interview short because it was going so long.
we had to
We're
stop
like, all right,
asking
we got to stop
questions.
talking because
we could have kept going
we would have
and
been
going
going
and
and going, and we had another show we had to do. So, but I got some news for you. And this is kind of breaking news because we just had this confirmed today. There is going to be a 3rd part to this saga with John Oliva, and it will be our very next show, September 10th. And John Oliva will be live in studio
That's
with
the
us.
trick right there.
Yeah.
Live.
So that was a recorded interview, but John was so impressed with the studio here and enjoyed being here so much. And, you know, when I was telling him, you know, his fans wanted to know about him and what's going on, he got really excited about that. And he told me that he is very humbled by that and greatly appreciative of that. And he loves you guys, and he wants to be here live to answer your questions live.
See, that's
So
cool.
That's
That's
going to
really
be a
cool.
very, very cool thing. So he will be here live in studio with us on the very next show in 2 weeks from tonight, September 10th. So make sure you tune in for that. Have
Get
your
your
questions
questions
ready.
ready. Yep.
And we will ask them for him, and he will answer them live right here on the sound effect. So let's find out what happened with the show poll.
So, which Metallica album was the bigger disappointment?
The bigger load?
Yeah, the bigger load. Load or Saint Anger? Well, boy, that's like fishing out of a dead barrel right there. I mean, I don't even really know what to say. I mean, you know, Load had like a couple songs on there. Saint Anger, it's bad, man. It's bad. You know, me personally, you know, that's like choosing what's your favorite retarded kid. Saint Anger is going to be what I thought was worse, but I mean they're both in the dollar bin and not getting sold anytime soon.
Yeah. So how about you, Dougie?
I chose Saint Anger because it's terrible. Actually, they're both very terrible, but that one is even more terrible.
Short and sweet. It's terrible.
It's terrible.
You know, I chose that one as well. I got to say that Saint Anger, in my opinion, was the worst sounding production. Actually, one of the 2 worst sounding produced albums I've ever heard in my life. The other one would be Van Halen 3, which is very unfortunate because Gary Cherone is an incredible singer. Great performer, and of course Van Halen's just phenomenal musicians and just great stuff. But I was so looking forward to that album being something great, and very disappointed in that. And
Well,
Saint Anger is the same way, man. The
and
production
he bragged
on
about it, though. He bragged about, you
the-
know, here's the sound of my drums.
Yeah.
You know,
the production
snare,
on that
the
is horrible.
kick
The
drum.
snare drum was the worst. The worst part of it all. Wouldn't you agree, Dougie, Mr. Drum Guy?
It's very terrible. Not even. Ugh. I'd rather hit a garbage can.
Oh yeah, and it's like pat, pat, pat. It was horrible. So you talk about a load, man. A load of crap.
Yeah, right.
But they were both a load of crap. I don't like either one of them.
So I mean, you know, a few people were saying how they didn't like the Black album, which, you know, yes, great opinion. But if you put those 3 together, you know, Black looks like a piece of gold compared to those.
Yeah, I
Big
love the
time.
Black album. I thought it was
Yeah.
great. So
I mean, so it's a landslide. I mean, the King of the Losers would be Saint Anger.
Yeah.
62% to 38%.
Yeah, my man Ace here online, he said Saint Anger was horrible. I have to agree with him on that. He was a guitar player for my old band Crusade. How you doing there, Mr. Ace? Love you, brother.
Yeah.
Long time no speak, my friend.
Very, 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 very bad. Very bad. So,
yeah, that's it's just blah.
I mean, I hate to...
You know what's sad about it, though? If you really take the production aspect out of the picture and you really listen to the album and the songs on there, Saint Anger's got better songs, you know. But the production is horrible, which makes it a worse album.
I couldn't get myself to even stay to hear something a second time. I mean, it just,
yeah, me too.
I don't know, man.
I tried. I was like, all right, I'm done.
Then I heard Saint Anger on the radio, and I think there was one other one that was getting played too.
Couldn't
and it's like
believe
it sounded like they were trying to redo some songs from Master of Puppets.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it just wasn't gonna happen.
Now that's my favorite Metallica album right there, Master of Puppets, by far.
Yeah, I mean,
Master.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So basically, you know, with Jon coming on next show, we'll let you guys know right now what the show poll is going to be for next week, or for the next show.
Right.
And that is, which Savatage album do you think is better, Gutter Ballet or the concept album Streets?
Yeah.
So
that's a tough one, man.
Yeah.
Gutter Ballet has actually got my favorite Savatage song on it, you know, and I'll tell you
Well,
about
we'll see
that.
what everybody thinks. You know, we'll let them.
Although
duke it
Streets
out
has got my other favorite, so.
Exactly.
See, I'd rather talk about that than
You want to talk about concept albums, though.
Yeah.
That was the one that launched all the different Savatage concept albums, which eventually, as you know, and you just heard Jon say, is what sprouted TSO.
Yep.
You know? So, which is kind of a cool thing when you stop and think about it, you know, history, things that had to fall into place to make something else happen.
Yeah.
You know, that's
Absolutely.
pretty neat. It's pretty cool. All right, cool. Let's step into the spotlight. We had a couple more comments for you real quick. Dave said the Black Album rocks. Ashley said yes, the Master Puppets was her favorite. And then Ace said, oh, that's going to be a tough one on the Savatage thing. So,
Yeah, it will.
Definitely a tough one. Couple
It will.
of fantastic albums. So rounding out the show for you tonight, we got another special moment for you this evening, performing here in the Bakemore Pie studio. When we did that interview, Jon came in here. The owner of the studio, Chords, has a very beautiful 1911 piano Gaveau, piano made in Paris, France, that survived World War I and World War II. In fact, it survived the Nazis in World War II. They took over his grandparents' home.
Very interesting
And they were going to take the piano when they were leaving, when the Allies were marching through. And his grandfather stood between him and said, "You're not taking this piano." Put his life on. That's pretty gutsy, man.
Yeah,
You gotta
right.
Give the guys some serious guts for that one. And so we've got that piano here in the studio. Actually, you can see it right here in this picture. And
Jon liked the way
sat
it sounded,
down.
liked the way it played.
He absolutely loved
He
that
wanted to buy
piano.
it, actually.
Oh, yeah, he did. He kept trying to talk him into selling it.
more
I
than once.
guarantee you when he comes here again, he's going to probably bug him about it again some more. So here you go, man. Jon Oliva playing another song just for you. Enjoy it.
Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Above us only sky. Imagine all the people imagine there's no countries. Wasn't hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. No religion too. Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you join us in the world will live as one.
Very nice.
There you go.
Very nice.
Awesome, man.
So-
Mr. John Oliva playing piano. Gotta love that, and singing. He actually was not going to sing at first. He was saying that he was having a little. He had just gotten over being sick, and
Wasn't
his
feeling
voice
good.
wasn't feeling all that great. He sat down and started playing that piano, and just started loving it, and just started singing a couple of songs because that's John.
And
you
we
know?
hooked him up, showing him the technology that we have here with
Yeah, and then he's like,
lyrics and
okay,
stuff.
I'll do it. So we set the thing up. Thanks so much to Chords and everybody here at Bake More Pies for setting it all up for us so we can do that recording and stuff like that and get that for you guys. It's a very special treat from John because he's really not going to perform much anymore at all. Just maybe occasional thing is sitting in with somebody or something like that. But I don't believe he's going to be doing any more touring at all. So.
Well, you heard him. If you watched it, if you're watching the interviews, both this time and last time, he basically comes out and says that he's like, I've already done that. I've already done it. I've already sang like that.
The good thing is that he's still going to be putting out music, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because he's just a music monster. He's by far the most talented musician I've ever met and that I know personally.
Hell of a songwriter.
Yeah, absolutely.
So with that said, if you want video work done, or marketing for that matter, Bake More Pies is the way to go. These guys have their stuff together, and as you see, even the big dogs are impressed. It's not just us bragging about it. It really is a great place. So thanks to Chords and everybody that works here.
Yeah, absolutely, big time. We also, of course, want to thank John Oliva very much for coming into the studio and talking to us and performing. And we will have him in here one more time. He's going to be live with us on the very next show coming up on Tuesday, September 10th. It's going to be at 8 p.m. That's the normal time. However, we are seriously considering possibly starting a little bit early that day, maybe 7:30, just because we know that we're going to talk to John quite a bit. That show's going to be different than our other shows. We're probably going to cut back on some of the news and things like that just so we can talk to John because it's just a special moment to have him live here in the studio with us because he wants to answer questions from his fans. He wants to be involved and touch base with them and just thank you guys for all the support over the years and everything. So that's going to be a really great thing. So don't forget to tune in for that. It's Tuesday, September 10th.
And also be sure to visit our website, thesoundeffectshow.com. You can see previous shows, find out what's coming up next, see our show calendar. Be sure to click on the links. You'll see all the links to our social media that's on there. And then also go to YouTube, subscribe to our channel. We're trying to get more subscribers. That way we can address our YouTube channel correctly, so it's not it says the Sound Effects Show. We're not AL23- whatever.
Right.
So
right. Yeah.
then,
I think if we get like 20 more subscriptions to YouTube, then we can finally get our own official URL of the sound effect or the sound effect show, which would be great. So
We should be able to do it.
subscribe to that and have all your friends do that as well, please. So
Also, be sure to check out. Michelle obviously wasn't here tonight. Her show is on Thursday nights. That's a Shaking the Rafters with Michelle on rockrageradio.com. So definitely check that out.
Yep, and if you want to get yourself healthier, then check out our sponsor at criticallinkhealth.com. Use the code SOUNDEFFECT for 15% off of all natural products such as CBD, vitamins, and protein powders. In fact, I got some CBD for you, Scott. I've been using their Accelerate and Vitamin D for a few weeks now, and I've definitely really noticed a difference, which is fantastic, and trying to get healthier and stuff, which is cool. And Eric's just an awesome guy. Thanks again for watching. We will see you next time with a very special guest live here in the studio, Mr. Jon Oliva, and he's going to answer all your questions. So have them ready for us, and we will run them across there. Also, that is Tuesday, September 10th, and tentatively 8 o'clock. We're going to probably shoot again, like I said, a little bit earlier at 7:30. And I'm going to let Doug talk to you to close the show out tonight.
So tonight, our new music is called Fiction 6. It's a song called Foolish Pride. They're a new band. I think you guys are really going to dig them. They're just fantastic. So let's kick it off, and thanks for watching, guys.
Cool. We'll see
Have
you
a
guys.
good night. We'll see you 2 weeks with Jon Oliva.